Hello, everyone. We are pleased to have you join us for the second annual Cardinal Health Lab Exchange. Welcome to today's live broadcast, an overview of SeraCare Life Sciences. I'm Judy O'Rourke of LabRoots, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. Today's webcast is presented by labroots.com, the leading social media site for science professionals, and sponsored by SeraCare. SeraCare partners with IVD researchers and manufacturers, as well as clinical laboratories, to bridge the gap between today's diagnostic solutions and tomorrow's emerging technologies for molecular diagnostics, next-generation sequencing, and companion diagnostics. With a comprehensive portfolio of QC control and panel products, and with more than 25 years of diagnostic industry experience, SeraCare is uniquely positioned to ensure the highest level of consistency, confidence, and compliance as we jointly shape the future of medical diagnostics. Before we start, there are a few instructions. We want to hear from you during this interactive broadcast, so please ask questions or leave us a comment. Answers are welcome too, and you can do this by hitting the green Q&A button at the lower left of the presentation window and typing in your comments and questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can, and we'll follow up if we don't have time today. Want a better look? We can enlarge the slide window by clicking on the screen icon in the lower right-hand corner of the slide window. If you can't hear or see this presentation properly, let us know by clicking on the support button at the top right or use the Q&A button. We'll make sure we try to resolve any issues. Today's presenter is David Hall, Senior Director of Strategic Alliances at SeraCare. I will now turn it over to David for his presentation.
Thanks, Judy. I really appreciate it. Great introduction. Thanks very much. And good afternoon, everyone. As Judy mentioned, my name is David Hall. I'm the Senior Director of Strategic Alliances for SeraCare Life Sciences. And I really appreciate the time out of your busy schedules today to join us for our presentation. It's very much appreciated. I know how busy everybody is. What I'd like to talk about today is really a twofold approach. Some of the audience may know who SeraCare is, what we do, and are familiar with us based on products you may have used or may be currently using, whether it be quality control or panel products, disease state materials, for example. There might be a segment of the audience that doesn't know who SeraCare is, so I thought I would give a nice overview of who we are at SeraCare and what we do every day to help you in the diagnostic industry and the clinical marketplace, with your patient results and patient testing. For those that are familiar with SeraCare, towards the end of the presentation, we have some newer products, some newer initiatives with SeraCare that I'd like to briefly overview that you may not be familiar with, and that's SeraCare's launch into precision medicine. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll move on in our presentation. So who is SeraCare Life Sciences? We are a life sciences organization that's based out of Milford, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Boston. We also have a facility in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Our Massachusetts office is our corporate headquarters, where we have all sales and marketing, shipping, manufacturing, and we do a little research and development in Massachusetts. The bulk of our R&D is done at our Gaithersburg, Maryland facility. And as we go through the presentation and you see the word Accuplex, our recombinant viral technology, that's an example of what's been developed and manufactured at our Maryland facility. SeraCare as an organization has over 25 years of experience in the diagnostic industry. And as Judy mentioned in the introduction, we have immediate short-term and long-term goals that we try to bridge together. So we partner with really every aspect of the diagnostic industry and healthcare, from IVD researchers and manufacturers, clinical laboratories, to try to bridge the gap between the diagnostic solutions you have today and look to the future and what's coming down the road with precision medicine, next generation sequencing, and try to bring those two together with the ultimate goal of making your lives better and easier and benefiting patient care at the same time. So with our manufacturing capabilities and our scientific community within SeraCare, we're very uniquely positioned to provide high-level, consistent products that give our customers confidence in the product they use from us and the product they're developing or testing for in their clinical laboratory. And hopefully, together, we're shaping the future of medical diagnostics, with the ultimate goal, and we talk about this all the time at SeraCare, is that we are working to gain a better understanding and a global perspective of human disease. So if you go to our website, you'll see that I've kind of broken down our customers and the partners that we work with in 4 really specific categories. So we work very closely with clinical laboratories for our control and panel products, diagnostic researchers for viral isolates, disease state materials, sometimes panel products as well. Precision medicine, I'll touch base briefly, but I'll have a little more at the end of the presentation for next generation sequencing and recombinant technology, and IVD manufacturers as well. So for today's presentation, I'd like to focus on the first 3. Our IVD manufacturers is basically processed plasma products that we produce bulk processed plasma products for manufacturers based on their specific requirements and specifications for the assays they're developing. So going into each customer segment a little more in detail, for the clinical laboratories, which we'll focus on first, we are experts in independent quality control material for the infectious disease market, and also panel products, which I'll review all 4 different types of panel products that we have. Peer review software for peer review of your data. We have a great product for that as well too. And the ultimate goal in the laboratory is obviously provide accuracy and consistency with clinical testing as it relates to a patient outcome and patient testing. Diagnostic researchers, we are one of the world's largest banks, as it were, or a collection holder for disease state materials, whether it's viral isolates, panel material, human blood products. I'll list those here in a few slides, but we have a tremendous inventory of biological material that we work with developers and researchers, whether developing a new assay, testing a new assay. They'll work very closely with SeraCare to save them time and effort of going out and trying to find these samples. We'll provide them for them. Precision medicine, we undertook this initiative about a year and a half, 2 years ago. We saw the need for developing innovative tools, safe and effective tools, so folks that are doing precision medicine, especially with HIV drug resistance, for example, that we want to provide material they can use in their NGS testing and precision medicine testing that's safe and effective, and we've provided that, and we're continuing to grow that avenue of SeraCare. And I mentioned IVD manufacturers. If you're a manufacturer and you're interested in HSA, DSA, human plasma, we're a tremendous resource for that, and we can customize the bulk plasma product to fit your technical needs. So let's move on to the clinical laboratory. If there's folks in the audience that have used our products before, as I mentioned, we live and breathe infectious disease. So we are very highly focused on infectious disease, quality control material, and panel products. So we'll start with our AccuRun controls, and we divide those in 2 separate categories for serology testing and molecular testing. So for serology, we offer single and multi-marker analyte controls. There's more detail in the next slide, but this is a quick overview. For qualitative assays, they are all low-level weakly reactive controls. So we try to target our controls at the low end of the sensitivity level of your assays, so you're catching outliers earlier, which can ultimately help with reducing costs with repeat testing. And one of the features of our serology controls is the amount of product we make per batch and the shelf life. Typically it's 2 to 3 years. Probably a minimum is a little bit over 18 months. So you're getting very good lot-to-lot consistency. Our molecular controls are RNA and DNA-based controls for quantitative assays. They are manufactured from intact viral or microorganisms. And a unique feature of our molecular controls is they can be utilized for every phase of your molecular testing, from extraction all the way through the final detection. So you don't necessarily need to buy individual controls for each step of your molecular testing. We also have several genetic controls for cystic fibrosis and thrombophilia. We have control that looks for various factor assays, factor 2 being one. Those are more specific type controls, but we do have those available as well. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, our large batch sizes with our expiration dates, which means for our laboratories and our customers, fewer lot changes. And SeraCare will accept standing orders, and we will sequester product if it's a large enough order and necessary, so just give us a call. We can sequester product as well. A little more in-depth on serology controls. They are all designed for with IgM and IgG antibodies. A couple key points of this slide, that they are human-based controls, human plasma-based controls, excuse me. They are manufactured to mimic patient samples with naturally occurring antibodies. They are manufactured to meet all regulatory requirements. And as I mentioned earlier, we design our controls for the low end of your assay. Our controls, we do have multiple controls that are targeted for specific platforms. So if you're interested in a serology control, all you need to do is contact SeraCare. Here's our platform, and we can make the necessary and appropriate recommendation for the control that's targeted for your instrumentation. The reason we manufacture them at the low-end level of the sensitivity range of an assay is we want to try to catch outliers as early as possible. So that's how all of our controls are designed, both serology and molecular. As I mentioned, many of our controls are targeted at specific platforms. One example I use for today is our AccuRun 1 control. Our controls are manufactured as single analyte or multi-analyte controls. AccuRun 1 is a multi-analyte control, but we have 5 different series of the AccuRun product. Each series is designed for a specific platform, and each series is designed to contain different analytes depending on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a multi-analyte control that contains CMV, we have it available with hepatitis and HIV. If you don't necessarily need CMV, there's one available without CMV in a multi-analyte control. That's an example. They are stable at room temperature. I mentioned the consistent lot-to-lot performance based on the amount of product we produce. There is no reconstitution required. They are ready to use. And the way we design them is we want to help you catch problems first. You know, when we look at quality control and infectious disease from SeraCare, we kind of look at the whole continuum of quality control, right from instrument installation, which I'll talk about a little bit in our panel portion of the presentation, through a normal quality control program to encompass troubleshooting, instrument repair, daily quality control. That's really how our controls are designed to help you through that entire continuum. At the bottom, you can see the menu for our serology controls. For today's presentation, I generalized it by category, but obviously for HBV, for example, we have multiple controls depending on what you're testing for and the assays you're running. So this is just a general look of the categories that we have, from HIV to hepatitis to the torch assay, syphilis, CMV, and so forth and so on. Moving on to our molecular controls. The controls we manufacture are DNA and RNA-based controls. They are manufactured through intact, as I mentioned, intact viruses or microorganisms. These also are available in single or multi-analyte controls. We have customers use them for qualitative testing and quantitative testing for the nucleic acid tests. And as I mentioned, they monitor all aspects of sample testing, right from extraction all the way through detection. So you're getting a consistent control performance through the entire molecular process. Again, large lot sizes, they mimic patient samples. Because we manufacture such large lot sizes, there's very little variation from lot to lot because we do manufacture a bulk of product at one time. At the bottom, you can see the current list of, again, generalized categories of assays. About 2 years ago, we released women's health, C. diff as well. As you can see, HIV, HCV, all the H's, as I like to refer to them as, we cover those with our molecular testing. And each category has multitude of different controls, whether you're looking for surface antigen, non-surface antigen, HIV-1, HIV-2, and so forth and so on. So we quickly reviewed the serology and molecular controls, so now I'd like to jump over to our panel products. SeraCare manufactures a wide variety of panel products. As you can see at the bottom, we do offer 4 distinct panel types. I will go through each panel type individually, but we offer qualification panels, linearity panels, performance panels, and seroconversion panels. All of our panels, regardless of category, they are multi-member panels. They're very data intensive. We keep a lot of data on all of our panel products. All that information is available on our website. Certificates of analysis are available. They're categorized by batch, so you get very specific data sheets for each specific panel batch that you might be running. Our goal with our panels, in a general sense, is to help our customers spend less time searching for samples, whether you're validating a piece of equipment, whether you're troubleshooting an assay, you're looking at lot-to-lot quality control. You can use panels for that process. So it saves our customers time versus having to bank samples or reaching out to their neighbors to try to find samples, to cover really the whole continuum, as I mentioned, from performance to seroconversion to linearity. We have a wider range of disease markers for both serology and nucleic acid testing for panels. These are just some of the general categories, and as you can see, the panel menu is very much aligned to the AccuRun menu. And that's the consistency that we're trying to bring to our customers from the time you install that instrument, and we'll talk about performance panels in here in a few minutes, all the way down through your normal quality control. We want to provide products that are consistent through every stage of that quality control continuum, as I mentioned. So we'll start with qualification panels. Qualification panels, as you can see, they cover a dynamic range for most test methods. They are nonlinear, typically contain 4 to 6 diluted positive members from multiple donors and 1 negative. All of our panels do contain a negative. They are manufactured, as I mentioned, similar to AccuRun controls, human plasma, so forth and so on. These panels are very, very good for the purposes you see listed, on the screen. Lot acceptance and qualification. As you bring in new assays and you change lots, and the lot changes on the assay, this is a wonderful product to run that assay, make sure that it's running properly, your QC is in line as you change lots, validation of assays, and more and more with the lessening of med techs as med techs are harder and harder to find, as new techs come in. This is a great panel to train your staff, assess competencies for that data that has to be recorded, at your facility, and they're wonderful for troubleshooting. If you're having an outlier on a certain assay, these panels are fantastic for troubleshooting your assay performance. Linearity panels. Linearity is critical with molecular testing. Typically, a molecular laboratory needs to verify their linearity minimum twice a year. Sometimes it's more, depending on the inspecting agency that you're working with, or internal, procedures within your own facility. The key with linearity is they need to be done with a panel of serially diluted specimens, not a control. Oftentimes, customers will manufacture or make their own linearity panels. We take that need out. To manufacture your own panels and have your techs, titrating down, we can provide that product for you and for our customers. So our panels are serially diluted from a high concentration member down to a low member, and typically they cover, the entire linear range of the nucleic acid test. We align our panels with the WHO standards as those standards become available. So we're constantly monitoring what WHO is publishing from their standardized process, and we try to align our products to meet those as well. Currently, if you look at our linearity menu, we cover the H's, as I mentioned, HIV, HCV, HBV, and CMV. We also have a series of linearity panels that are smaller panels. They have 4 members versus 7 to 9. For transplant viruses, so adenovirus, BK virus, Epstein-Barr, herpes, JC, and varicella. Those panels are always, as I mentioned, used as a control. They are currently being reformulated to bring more members into that panel, but they are available right now if you're doing transplant work and you're looking for transplant viruses in your facilities. And performance panels. Before I go to the panel, I did want to make one clarification. SeraCare uses the terminology performance panels. most customers refer to this as validation material. So validation and performance really means the same thing. It's just we categorize them as a performance panel. These panels are comprised of, they're minimally processed, and they're from a unique donor. These panels are often used, very often, in fact, for new instrument validation. One of the biggest challenges for a laboratory and when they acquire new capital equipment is the validation of that equipment. 20 to 30 to 40 patient specimens per analyte can be, kind of a daunting task. Some customers will spend months collecting data or banking patient specimens, They'll reach out to hospitals in the area to see if they can acquire from additional hospitals. 20 years ago, when I was in clinical diagnostic sales, our technical specialists used to drive from hospitals and put samples in a cooler and bring them back. They can't do that anymore. Regulatory requirements don't allow them. So SeraCare can make it simple to validate the equipment. So there's a huge benefit. We can go from months down to days, and there's a huge benefit to the hospital, to the clinical lab that can start reporting patients sooner. The instrument gets live sooner. And similar to the other panels, our qualification panel, our performance panel covers the entire menu that you saw on a previous slide. So if you're installing a piece of equipment, feel free to give SeraCare a call, give me a call, say here's the equipment we're installing, what can you help us with, and we can align your menu with the necessary panel to help you with that installation. They are all manufactured in low titer to mixed titer samples, so you get a wide variety or wide range of result possibilities, and these are, like I mentioned, often used in new instrument validation, used very often in clinical validation studies, and we do work a lot with research laboratories with our performance panels as well. Our last category of panels are seroconversion panels. SeraCare was one of the first to pioneer seroconversion panels with the onset of the HIV epidemic in the 1980s. And these are unique panels that they are a seroconversion panel for multiple analytes made and derived from one patient. So they are from the same donor that we follow the seroconversion where the patient's producing antibodies as the disease progresses. And those are from virus to antibody production. Those are how we collect from those donors, and those how we manufacture those panels. They're not often used in clinical laboratories. Sometimes they are, depending on how they want to be used during instrument installation. But they're very much used with IVD developers and research laboratories. We have a very robust menu. Again, each category, HIV, HBV, for example, has a multitude of different panels within that category. And we just released a CMV seroconversion panel. We just recently released HCV genotype panel and an HBV linearity panel as well, too. Forgot to mention that in the previous slide. I apologize. So these are unique panels from one unique donor. If you go on the website and you're looking for a seroconversion panel, you can actually see the location of the donor, geographically where they were from, and all the necessary data information that comes with it. So we move out of the clinical laboratory and we'll move into diagnostic research. We work very extensively with diagnostic researchers, assay developers, laboratories that are testing an assay for a manufacturer to challenge that assay, new product development, developing new validation protocols. There's a whole wide variety of customers we work with for disease state material. New assay research is clearly at the top of the list. So as I mentioned in our introduction, we are one of the larger suppliers in the world of bank biological material. We have an extensive inventory that's readily available. So our goal with our disease state material for diagnostic research is allow you to spend less time searching for product and more time innovating your product. That's really our goal. So if you see at the bottom of the slide, I know the printing is a little small, I apologize, but just an example of our current products, or autoimmune line. We do have an exotic bank of products for Chagas, dengue, Lyme disease, West Nile virus, HIV, HEV, all your hepatitis, your HIV, pathogenic bacteria. So These are packaged in aliquoted vials. Some are 1 mil, 2 mil, 10 mil. We do offer bulk product as well too, just depending on how much product you do need. But as you can see by the slide, we have a very wide array of infectious agents that we do house in our Massachusetts facility. And again, if you go on the website, you search disease state material. If you're looking, for example, for hepatitis B genotype material, you can go in and look at what we have for genotype A, genotype B, genotype C, where the donor came from, all the data that's right there. Our website is updated on a very regular basis, so the products that are on our website is what we currently have in inventory in real time. So it's a very, very nice program. This is a new area for SeraCare. For those that are familiar with who we are, you might not be familiar with what we're working on with precision medicine. So I wanted to take a few minutes today and talk about our initiative. This is a rapidly growing scientific branch. At least that's SeraCare's opinion. As clinicians and the healthcare market looks for better ways to treat oncology patients, to treat HIV drug resistance, those treatment options are starting to come down to the genetic level. Very specific treatments based on the genetic makeup of the organism, certain gene sequences within solid tumors, for example. So it's becoming very, very specialized. So several years ago, SeraCare, with some of our technologies, realized that this is an avenue that we can greatly help the healthcare industry. So we have a separate division within SeraCare that's our precision medicine group, and we are very actively involved with precision medicine. We present, we do a lot of blog work, and we are actively involved with development within precision medicine and NGS development. Very, very high research and development effort, within this division of SeraCare. So, as I mentioned earlier, what we're looking for is safer, more effective ways that laboratory technicians, laboratories in general, can work with, that may do NGS testing or may work with highly virulent organisms like HIV and drug resistance. What can we do to provide them safe products that are effective and very, very sensitive? So I've broken down the precision medicine into two groups. The first group I'd like to talk about is our Accuplex recombinant viral technology. This is a trademark technology. This is work that we do at our Maryland facility down in Gaithersburg. So this is designed for very specific, often rare viral organisms. And, we use a host virus that we produce viral particulates that contain genetic material from the target organism. They are non-infective. They are very safe to use. But if you're running molecular tests or NGS tests, the genome of the target organism is expressed almost identically to the wild-type virus. So it's a very powerful test, very sensitive test, but very safe for the lab technicians to use. So we're working with assay developers, clinical labs, public health agencies, trying to help fast-track the development. And, if you're getting ready for the Olympics and everyone's excited about the Olympics, there's been an awful lot in the news for the last 4 or 5 or 6 months about the Zika virus. So you'll see in the next slide that we have material that we just released here recently for Zika based on this technology, but it was a need and a desire as public health agencies, assay developers working frantically to develop a Zika assay. SeraCare was right there hand in hand with them developing reference material to validate that assay, and not only that, but use that as a control when they roll out those assays to the public and clinical market. The second section is our SeraSeq, our trademark NGS products. And I'm going to go through each one of those in a little more detail, but right now they're broken into 3 distinct groups. I'm sure this portion of SeraCare is growing rapidly. Right now we have products for oncology, drug resistance, and reproductive health, which I'll go over with in a little more detail in my next set of slides. So let's talk a little bit about the Accuplex recombinant viral technology. It is a trademark technology. We constructed with a replication-deficient mammalian virus. for both RNA and DNA. I mentioned some of the unique benefits, but the product that we produce does resemble a virus target in a patient sample. So the Zika material that we've developed can be used when the assays are available, and the test will mimic and provide a control for the real wild-type Zika that a patient might be infected with. Because of the way it's constructed, the viral genome that's released during the nucleic acid sample prep and the extraction is released at a similar rate to the wild-type virus. So it's almost like you're testing the real virus, but you're testing a safe, non-infective product. Developed through PCR, so they are compatible with real-time PCR and NGS-based assays. And we're looking at it, Accuplex, as a true molecular control, process control for our customers. And I mentioned some of the benefits. The product is not infectious. It cannot replicate. It's fully extractable, has a real protein, a viral protein coat, similar to a wild-type virus. And the way our technology is designed is we can accept and manufacture a product that can have one, two, or the same or different RNA sequences. So if you're looking for, an example, 3 genetic sequences for a certain wild-type virus, we can manufacture a product with those 3 gene sequences, which will be captured. It's a very, very stable product. It covers the whole range of storage from 4 degrees centigrade to room temperature and elevated temperatures, so it's a very robust product. We can customize it to your specifications based on what you're testing for, what genetic sequence you're looking for. All you need to do is contact SeraCare, and we can get you connected with our scientists, our developers who are working with the Accuplex product line. And as I mentioned, it works very well with PCR and a wide range of tighter concentration levels. So this is just a brief overview of the current Accuplex products that we have available. We released Ebola a little over a year ago, but we also have product for norovirus, MERS, dengue, and I always love saying it, chikungunya. I think I said it right. So you can see it's a very specific menu for very specific wild-type viruses that are problematic in certain regions of the world. And if you look at data that's being presented about Zika, we just released our Zika material about 2 or 3 months ago. It represents the entire RNA genome of the Zika 2017 strain. Can't remember exactly which country it's from, but what we did is we took the RNA genome and we split it to 4 equal constructs of overlapping viral material. We initiated through the Accuplex product, and we have a reference material that can be used in development. It can be used as a control to develop your own control. And because it covers, each product has each different RNA construct, you can test for the entire Zika genome. So we're very excited about this. We presented this at the CBS meeting. We had a lot of great feedback about it. But if you read data and you look at the geographics, there's a concern that, by 2020, I think it was, or 2025, with advent of climate change, that the mosquito that carries the Zika virus, may encompass most of the United States by like 2020 or 2025. So this is an assay and an organism that's going to become more and more important, both before, during the Olympics, and even after the Olympics. But this menu is growing, and I anticipate that it's going to continue to grow as well. Moving on to SeraCare NGS. As I mentioned, I wanted to present it today in 3 specific categories. So for oncology, we wanted to provide product that gave, consistent result with a high level of precision for a variety of different types of oncology NGS initiatives, whether it was somatic mutation determination, fusion RNA assays, or circulating tumor DNA. Precision medicine is growing. I'm by no means an expert on precision medicine, but from what I've read, it is growing. And more the treatment of cancers, types of cancers, solid tumor cancers, are being focused at the genetic level. You know, if by identifying the genes within a solid tumor, you can structure a patient's therapy to better target that genetic sequence. That's really what our product is. For drug resistance, as we continue to look for, right now we're focused on HIV, as we continue to look for treatments and drugs that are effective against an HIV virus, if they're, in case of a mutation, we can look at drug treatment at the genetic level for HIV. And the last category is reproductive health. And you'll see the products we have available. This is designed for trisomy 13, 18, and 21. That there has been a movement within prenatal screening and reproductive health to look for fetal circulating DNA in the mother's bloodstream. So it's less invasive, it's more specific, and it's far better for the patient versus the invasive methods that we've used for years. So we've been working on a reproductive health product line for trisomy. I know there's a lot of information on this slide. I really just wanted to give everyone an overview of the products that we currently have available within precision medicine. I know I've said this before, but if you have some time and you want to go to our website, there is a tremendous amount of information, package inserts, detailed information about each one of these product lines, and what we're specifically looking for. So we have mutation ladders for oncology, mutation mix. I know there's the product where we have 26 different gene sequences that are contained in the same control. So if a lab is looking for certain genetic sequences within a solid tumor, they can run our material and be confident that they've captured that information correctly. Drug resistance, as I mentioned, we are very focused on HIV right now. So we offer drug resistance and tropism reference material and straight HIV-1 reference material. And at the bottom you see the reproductive health. So we've released product. We have a negative control, but as you can see, we have both a single analyte control. If you're specifically looking, at trisomy 21, we have a control. Trisomy 18, control 13. We also have a multi-analyte, multi-analyte reference material that contains 13, 18, and 21. So it's a little bit of a broader perspective. So I wanted to provide a brief overview on our precision medicine initiatives. As I said in my introduction, those that are not familiar with SeraCare, I hope you learned something about our company today. For those that do know SeraCare, the new initiatives that, for Acuplex or NGS, you might not have been familiar with, so I wanted to share that with the audience today on things that we're doing as an organization to, like I said, to try to bridge that gap with the diagnostic testing of today with the diagnostic testing of the future. So I would love to thank everyone again for your time and attention during the presentation. I know everyone's very busy. I know this was an overview of who SeraCare is. So on the last slide, you can see my contact information. Feel free to contact me anytime. I can direct you to the right resource within SeraCare, or I can help you directly. Here's our website information, our direct phone line. If you're interested in SeraCare and you have questions or would like more information, feel free to check out our website. Call us at any time, and we'll be happy to address your questions and help you out the best way we possibly can. Again, thank you very much. And Judy, I think we're ready to turn it over to Q&A.
Yes, excellent presentation, David. Thanks for bringing that information to us. Before we get started with all of your questions, here's a quick reminder about how to reach us today. Questions can be sent via the green Q&A button at the lower left of the presentation window. We'll get to as many as we can. And our first question is, where does SeraCare see the future for NGS?
I think, like I said, we see it expanding. I think we definitely see it growing. I think there will be more and more facilities doing next generation sequence testing, and I think that from a company standpoint, it's going to continue to expand for us. beyond just oncology and drug resistance and prenatal screening. Oncology alone has multitude of avenues that you can go with NGS testing. So to me and to us, I think it's the future of patient care and very specialized patient care.
Are SeraCare's controls and panel products targeted for certain platforms?
They are. Both on the serology and molecular side, they are we do have products that are targeted for certain platforms. For example, Abbott Architect, Siemens Centaur, OrthoVitros are just a few examples. Roche Cobas, for example, on the molecular side of things. And our controls, especially serology controls, are unassayed independent controls. So we don't publish values based on our FDA clearance and FDA regulations. So laboratories still have to establish their own ranges, but we have targeted controls for certain platforms at that low level based on product we've sent to independent laboratories who have tested it and verified it for us. But all you need to do is contact SeraCare, either myself or through the website. We have an inside sales group as well too. Technical support. Here's the platform I have, which is the best control for me, either serology or molecular, and we'll align it. We'll align it for you.
Great. If there are no more questions, I would like to once again thank David Hall for his presentation. Do you have any final comments?
No, I appreciate everyone's time. If you happen to think of a question after the session ends, we are participating in the virtual fair. We have a booth at the fair. I am manning a booth today and tomorrow, and during the next two sessions in August and September. Feel free to stop by and ask me a question. We can chat or call me in the office. So feel free to stop by the booth and take a look at what we have, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you again. I would also like to thank our sponsor, SeraCare, for making it possible to bring this presentation to you. Today's webcast will be available for on-demand viewing through September 30th, 2016. You'll receive an email from us alerting you when it's available on demand and posted on labroots.com. You're welcome to forward this announcement to any colleagues who weren't able to join in today. Thanks for logging on and participating in this broadcast. And be sure to attend the next presentation today, sponsored by SeraCare Diagnostics, Answers for Healthcare Utilizing the Awesome Eye FOBT Assay by Susan Ward, the Senior Global Product Manager for Point of Care at SeraCare Diagnostics. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you then. Bye.